So there I was, sitting on my ass, sipping away the second case of scotch, accepting the fact that Helldivers 2 will never come to Xbox, while simultaneously accepting that console racism and classism will never go away. I was just about ready to game over the game of life. But then, something happened. God might not have been listening to my gamer cries, but Satan responded to my tears with a vodka-soaked fever dream, and I have been in love ever since. So the original Stalker trilogy from GSC Game World was recently added to Xbox. In other words, the Xbox peasants have finally received their disaster relief. I mean, it's Stalker, so it's about 2% relief, 98% disaster, and 1000% vodka withdrawals. I've been spending the past few weeks slowly making my way through the trilogy, starting with Stalker Shadow of Chernobyl. Based on that title, I assumed the game had something to do with crazy Ukrainian bullshit, and crazy Ukrainian bullshit there most certainly was. The surrounding area of Chernobyl has become affected by this thing called the Zone. Within the Zone, there's nature-defying anomalies, fucked up abominations, and a bunch of godless Soviets massacring each other. Wait a minute. I've played this game before. This is one of those Metro games, right?
No.
Stalker is not Metro. Stalker is not Fallout. Stalker is Stalker. God, I sound like a fucking idiot. Let me put it like this. Stalker has FPS elements. It has RPG elements. It has a gloomy, fucked up world. I'm sure you haven't seen one of those in gaming before, but what separates Stalker from its post-apocalyptic cousins is the idea that you are nothing in the face of uncontrollable forces. One of those uncontrollable forces is the fact that you're gonna die. A lot. Yep, everything you've heard about this game is true. It will steal your social security number, fuck your wife, and kill your Todd. I honestly don't know what's wrong with me. Like, I'm mostly convinced that I'm not a masochist, but then I keep finding myself playing games like these that utterly destroy my asshole.
The system is totally rigged and broken.
But even after the ass beatings, I've still grown a strange attachment to this game. There's a lot of reasons to like a game. Story, combat, art design. But it's really hard to get me to like a game for its atmosphere. For being able to capture a certain mood that can't exactly be replicated anywhere else. And when it comes to Stalker, I'm 100% serious when I say that Stalker has the most gripping atmosphere I've ever experienced.
I know what it sounds like, but you have to believe me.
It doesn't matter.
I know that's probably a take that nobody cares for, but hear me out. Most games fail at attempting to strike fear into my mind. They often get a jolt out of me, but real fear, you know? The hard shit, that comes from within yourself. What you are able to convince yourself of. And Stalker? Oh, Stalker knows all the tricks in the book when it comes to convincing a player that they're just an insect in a world of giants. But let me back up a little. I'm getting a little ahead of myself. Like, first of all, what the hell Stalker even stands for? It's apparently a backronym for scavengers, trespassers, adventurers, loners, killers, explorers, and robbers. Which doesn't exactly fit the job description, but it's close enough. A stalker is basically a person who is hired to do things in the zone. I probably shouldn't use Wikipedia, but still, that's the thing. You're a stalker, but you're not the only one. A stalker is just a job title, and you're just one of the many stalkers looking to make some Chuck E. Cheese tokens out of this strange phenomenon. You play as a silent protagonist with next to nothing for a backstory or definable personality traits. Well, besides taking an interest in killing, walking, and having a clear drinking problem. You're referred to as Marked One, but the mark is only a tattoo that's a reminder of what you do for a living. This is like being a gas station clerk marked with a tattoo that read, "fucked." Fearful, unbearable, condemned, kidnapped, excruciating, and doors that are motion activated, of course. In most games you play as, well, you know.
You're the most important, most talented, most interesting, and most extraordinary person in the universe.
You play as King Dick, the coolest guy in the room.
Not that there's anything wrong with that.
No, of course not.
I like playing as the guy who can bash skulls in for fun while having normal conversations with women. That's a lifestyle that has a lot of pros. It isn't just that these characters are flashy and epic though. It's that the games they're in end up being all about them. They steal the show, so to speak. These characters have names and backstories, quirks and desires, which ultimately leaves the world to fade. I rarely ever see a game where the main protagonist is less fascinating than the world they inhabit. But it's Stalker's unique approach that allows the world to shine in the spotlight instead of the protagonist. Being a dot amongst more dots really gets across the idea that you're just another nobody with the net worth of an empty Pringles can.
Buzz off, Stalker. We don't let every loser go through.
Most games let you walk around with guns in your hands like you're on the Gaza Strip or something.
Everyone here is so accustomed to violence.
But in Stalker,
Don't be a jerk. Holster your weapon.
you aren't the badass with pinpoint accuracy. You're a worthless maggot with shit for aim. And the fact that I use a controller makes it even worse. Using a controller to play Stalker is, how do I put this, terrible? There's a reason why these games were originally designed for the PC Master Race. The gunfights usually boil down to being a random coin flip of who gets shot in the face first, which can feel extremely unfair at times. But the difficulty really adds to this world's menacing nature by not being afraid to kill you without a second to react. I've said it before, but the best place to set a hard game is in a brutal world. Now I said that in the context of my Far Cry 2 video, but Stalker is, it's a different kind of felon.
Oh, man. I want to know what kind of fucked up childhood this guy had.
Calling the world of Stalker brutal feels cute. It's more like nut squashing, or ego shattering at the very least. Watching me play this game is like watching me attempting to use chopsticks. Not only am I terrible at it, I'm also totally revealing myself as a bumbling tourist in another culture. This stuff is a regular part of Ukrainian culture, right?
It's all the craze of those Slavic types.
For the most part, you're shooting dudes in dilapidated ruins, but every once in a while, the game has you go into these underground portions. Now, up until this point, the game has probably groomed you to its unforgiving difficulty, but if you mix that difficulty with a little bit of darkness, eerie sound effects, and ugly-ass mutants, then you got yourself one atmospheric pie, which is probably something that tastes like shit, but well, I'll just let the gameplay speak for itself. It's not just that these moments are strange and horrifying, it's that the atmosphere really grabs hold of you, further reinforcing the idea of how small you are in relation to the zone. No other game has come close to replicating this feeling for me. No matter how geared up I am, I always feel like I'm just a guest in some eldritch abomination's house. The devs could have forced some cheap jump scares onto the player, but it's clear that they weren't going for something blatant. It's the subtlety of Stalker's atmosphere that makes its horror special. These moments, as I said before, are weird, to say the least. I'm not caught up on the Stalker lore or anything, so I can't really tell you what's up with these anomalies. Actually, I'll just come out and say that I barely know what the hell's supposed to be happening most of the time. For two reasons. First of all, I'm American, and therefore incapable of speaking other languages.
Да, фигня однозначно. Хотя, с другой стороны, чешуя-то в последнее время чешется все чаще.
I don't even know what the hell you're talking about.
And secondly, I'm illiterate. So you can fuck off with your liberal reading bullshit. What is it with games wanting to be book clubs so desperately? I'm not gonna read in your game.
Have you watched television? It's way better. There's pictures, there's sound, and most importantly, no reading.
But dare I say it, even my ignorance to read adds to this game's atmosphere. The zone is already dripping with cosmic horror, too cryptic to understand its true purpose, other than wiping the floor with my dead body. But the fact that I barely know what's supposed to be happening in the missions adds to the confusing nature of the zone. Stalker is basically the tenet of gaming.
Don't try to understand it. Feel it.
For a while I was stuck on this fucking nightmare, but it didn't stop me from wanting to push forward and really experience what this world has to offer. There are so many games that are known for their difficulty, being hard for the sake of being hard. But the thing about Stalker is that it has to be hard. It has to be inscrutable. The cosmic horror of the zone demands it. If Stalker didn't contain these obtuse traits, the difficulty, the silent protagonist, the confusion, Sidrovich eating chicken like a damn hyena, if it had rolled out the Ubisoft carpet and proclaimed you to be the most important white guy in town, then the atmosphere would have completely fallen apart, and I don't think I would have made a video on it. Is Stalker a perfect game? No, not even close. There's plenty of red flags that I personally despise. The constant manual quick saving, the slow-ass stamina regen, the fact that I don't know what the hell is happening half of the time, even though that one is mostly on me, and that goddamn crow that won't shut the fuck up. Avian extinction. That's all I'm saying, guys. It's hard to recommend a game like Stalker, one that could give two shits about you. I mean, the dated visuals alone could probably make man-children crumble to tears, but I think that's why I'm playing it. Stalker might be a game with a purposely rough texture, but how many of those are there? Thanks for watching.